I really appreciate your diligence to stay in the sun here for a while, so I'm last and short and sweet. But this is the first time that recreation that I remember has come to the forum as a topic, and I really thank Senator Ensign for bringing that to this forum, because I think recreation and us in the profession think this is the best part of the thresholds and the best chapter, because that's where all these people that do all this work to save Lake Tahoe come to play on their weekends. So we hope that this introduction to recreation to the forum actually is kind of an opportunity for us to gather funding in the future from the federal government, from the legislators in the federal side and the state side to support recreation in the basin, and that this is the beginning of that, I hope. And one thing I wanted to clarify for the press, and Senator Feinstein left too early for me, is that she did not break her ankle on the Tahoe Rim Trail. I did not want that to be the headline from the story today. I was, as a ranger at Sand Harbor and the state park over in Nevada, I was very frustrated in my early years as a ranger because there was absolutely no funding to support these projects to work on the BMP side and the water quality side. And it all began in 1997 when President Clinton and Vice President Gore came to town. And after that, I couldn't believe the amounts of monies that came from the state and the federal legislation to finally start doing some projects on the land. And I was involved with the chapter on recreation when TRPA was looking at the recreational threshold. And I remember the issues that we were talking about. And when those monies became available, these are the 4 areas of most importance on the recreation side, and that was lake access. And if you have ever tried to get to the beach before noon at Lake Tahoe on the summer months, just forget it. And I still am absolutely amazed that people still show up at Sand Harbor at noon, can't figure out why there's no parking there after 35 years of traffic control over there. So that was the top priority at the time, and then property acquisition was part of that to gain more access to the lake. Number 2 was a comprehensive trail system, and I was actually involved with the Tahoe Rim Trail as a ranger in Nevada at about 2 years after the beginning, since '84, which really put a system of trails in the backcountry that hadn't been there before to disperse the recreation use and give people that opportunity to visit the backcountry of Lake Tahoe. It's also improved the facilities, and then last was the interpretive educational side of it. And in the EIP report, the 10-year report, 67% or 82 of the 122 projects that were listed in this program have been completed. And it's been through which we've been talking about today and is unique in this country, is a lot of collaboration going on to get these projects put on the ground. And I'll just give you a slight example. When the Tahoe Rim Trail, because we're linear, we move through a lot of space, and we have 2 maps here today from 2 projects. The Rim to Reno project that's proposed, and then the new trail that we took off paved road in the Kingsbury, 3.5 miles of paved road. We worked with the U.S. Forest Service, 2 of them, the Chabi for the Rim to Reno and which is Carson Ranger District. We worked with Terry Marstron Shop, the Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit for the Kingsbury one, and we worked with California Tahoe Conservancy. We worked with GIDs. We worked with the Homeowners Association. We worked with Heavenly Valley Ski. We worked with Nevada Department of Transportation. We worked with State Lands. We worked with the Urban Trailhead that's in Tahoe on the South Shore. We worked with all of those folks to make these projects come into place. And that's the success of the Tahoe Rim Trail, and that's, I think, where I'm given this opportunity to speak for a few minutes. I did a report before we went back to Congress last year, to congressional delegation. It's called Hike the Hill, with hiking organizations go back, and we determined that the Rim Trail, through our relationships in this community, have gathered $4.5 million worth of funds that have been put back into the forest in trailheads, kiosks, and that doesn't even include all the volunteer time, which is in the millions of the 300,000 volunteers and the several thousands of hours that have been put into it. So that gives you an example of all the collaboration. And when I talked to the other recreation agencies in the basin before I came here today, every one of them spoke to those collaborations that have made it effective for them to do these projects in recreation. And that's your showcase places. That's when you drive around the lake, you'll see them all the changes since the EIP. All of the different parks you drive by now all have BMPs in place and nicer facilities and better parking and all those things. Not enough parking, but better facilities for all the people that visit them, and restrooms in places they weren't before. We had an overlook over near Sand Harbor called Memorial Point that had over 300,000 people a year visit that, because it's one of the few places you could touch, feel, and smell the lake, and there was no restroom. So now there's a restroom there, and that was part of the IP program, actually. And that was Those are the types of things that recreation is trying to improve inside the basin, and water quality in that lake is always our primary concern. So I'm going to kind of close up here with the thought that I wanted to thank Senator Ensign again for Incline Lakes and all of the work that went into that property, because the Rim Trail is very excited about that project and opportunities, and I know the community is too. And I know there's some still work to be done, but that was all about Senator Ensign's efforts and hard work to see that happen. And I thank you very much for the opportunity for Recreation to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Before we move on to the signing ceremony, Mike, I think you had something you wanted to say in addition.
One last acknowledgement, and for me it's almost unforgivable, but when we talked, you heard me talk today about partnerships. Two major organizations that are part of the natural resources family for California, one being California State Parks and the collaborative work that they do. I'd like to acknowledge them. But the work of CAL FIRE, we have the senior team of CAL FIRE here. Dell Walters is the director, Bill Holmes and Mary Huggins, who both work in the area, and Crawford Tuttle, chief deputy. I want to thank you all for the good work you guys do up here. Thank you.
Well, obviously you've heard today aquatic invasives are a huge threat to Lake Tahoe and to the Truckee River system. Today we'll be signing an implementation letter for the Lake Tahoe Regional Aquatic Invasive Species Management Plan. This plan will facilitate effective, collaborative AIS prevention, protection, monitoring, control, education, and research programs to preserve Lake Tahoe and its renowned beauty and the valuable recreation uses that we just heard about. This letter will be signed by the states of Nevada and California, as well as the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. So Governor Gibbons, the TRPA Executive Director Joanne Marquetta, Secretary Chrisman, if you'll join me at the table, we'll sign this letter of intent.